G'day guys and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit differently. We're going to sit here with a cup of tea and a huge block of chocolate and talk about travelling with dogs. Because we've been travelling with our two Kelpies now for 2 years in like 2 weeks time. So we get asked questions all the time about how we manage them, from what we do with them during the day if we want to go check out something, to where they sleep, where we store their food, all sorts of questions. So we've got a list.
So if you don't travel with a dog, or if you're not planning on travelling with a dog, this is probably not the episode for you. Because we're probably going to be talking for about an hour about our dogs.
Probably, yeah. So let's just get straight into it. The first one we get asked all the time, straight off the bat, is it restrictive travelling with dogs? Yes, of course it is.
Yes.
If you wanted to go park up in a national park for a week, travelling with dogs is going to stop you from doing that.
Yeah, so the way that we manage it is that we plan ahead. We look at the things that we really want to do. If we really want to do a national park, we'll organise care for the dogs, whether we're staying at a friend's place with a backyard, or somewhere where they're safe in the caravan, or they need to go into a pet sitter or a kennel. In saying that, we've only used a kennel twice on our travels, and both of those times we were in the Queensland region. The first time we wanted to do the Bloomfield track, which is partially national park, and we also wanted to stay overnight in a B&B which did not allow dogs. The second time we were having a really hard time and we just needed a break.
Yeah, and it was in Yeppoon. We went over to Great Keppel Island and stuff, which is dog friendly, but we just wanted some time to enjoy ourselves.
A couple of days where we had a little less to do, and and it was perfect. It really made a huge difference. It was only for a couple of nights, but it's what we needed at the time, and that's half the thing of travelling, is recognising when you need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So doing, say, a lap of Australia, say 6 months, 9 months or something, having a dog is going to restrict a lot of the places that you're going to want to see. You can manage, definitely, but yes, dogs are restrictive. We've chosen to live on the road, hence being on here for 2 years now, and we've still got another year's lined up.
Yeah.
So we make it work. We
do.
don't find it restrictive anymore. It's not something we even think about. It's like having children that can't go to certain places.
Absolutely.
You don't even think about it anymore.
You don't go to most places with kids anyway. So yeah, and we tag team a lot. So Mark will stay with the dogs, Liam and I will go and do an activity, or we'll swap, or we'll just take one dog and the other person will have the other dog, because they're really reactive when they're together. But we make it work.
We do. On the flip side of that, yeah, it's restrictive, but it depends on what type of travel you're going to do, and we're happy just being out exploring and seeing the country for what it is. If we have to miss some of the tourist destinations, so be it. We'll get to that later on.
There's so many other good spots you can get to that do allow dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been to some incredible places. And then the loyalty, companionship and security that they bring far outweighs any of the travel problems that we've had on our travels. Yeah, we don't find it restrictive anymore.
But we understand how restrictive it can be.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question that we get a lot is, where did the dogs sleep? So Mark's going to show you where they sleep in the van. Right there. Yeah, which is really good. When you've got cold feet, you get a little foot pillow. Little hot water bottle down there. In the car, they stay in the back. We move their beds into the car.
Yeah, so we're travelling in the 100 Series Land Cruiser. They've got the rear of the wagon all to themselves. I've just got a bag in there with spares and tools. Otherwise, the whole back is theirs. So sometimes if we're just going to a playground or something where the dogs aren't allowed in a playground, we'll just leave the back of the car open and they'll just sit in there on their beds and just chill out.
Yeah.
So that's where they sleep. Sometimes they sleep, or they used to sleep under the overhang of the bed, because we used to travel with an angle under the table. But now we've got the diesel heater, the vents are there, we don't have the angle. Gone. So they sleep under the table. And it allows us to still have this walkway. We only trip over them occasionally.
Liam trips over them every
day. All the time.
Yeah.
Alright, how do we exercise them? Alright, so we'll note that they are actually 10 or 10 and a half now, soon to be 11. They don't need as much as a puppy.
They don't need as much as they used to. They're still Kelpies.
Yeah, they're still Kelpies.
So they still need exercise.
They will get a walk first thing in the morning, regardless of where we are and what we're doing. After breakfast, we will take them for a walk. Sometimes we'll do it one at a time, or sometimes we'll just take them for a walk together. It's really handy if we stay in places like sports recreation areas, showgrounds and stuff, where there's an oval.
Yeah.
But they don't mind you letting your dogs off the lead, as long as they're under control.
Yeah.
So we can just go over, let them off the lead, and they can run and sniff and play and
get it all out of their system, especially if it's a day of travel and they won't be getting out of their car as often if we're doing a long day.
So yeah, lots of walks. Clem likes to run. I run occasionally, so we'll take a dog with us. We'll look at a town if we're going through a town or into a town. We'll find a dog exercise area, and just take him in there and just they play fetch. Curi brings the ball back. Kosta will take it away. They can almost play fetch by themselves.
They do. They love playing ball. A lot of the time, we'll also look ahead to the town where we're going, find that dog exercise area with the playground next door, and it's a win-win combination. So one person takes the dogs and one person takes Liam, and everybody is happy.
It's not a bad thing, because getting out with them helps to keep us.
It does. It's all in your mental health as well.
Oh yeah, I needed it this afternoon. I just took the dogs for a walk.
Sent Mark out with the dogs.
So yeah, exercising them we don't find to be a problem. Even on driving days, they just use that as a down day, but they'll still get a morning walk. They'll get a walk when we stop for lunch, and a little walk in the afternoon.
I'd say the hardest days for their exercise is when it's been raining a lot, and managing them. Heavy rain is a real challenge.
So is keeping the van clean.
We tend to just wait for the gaps of rain and then get them out then. But if you've got, like we did in southeast Queensland, just torrential rain for like a few hours. I think it was, we're at Daily Waters pub, and it was those build up storms, and there was like a foot of water underneath the caravan. The dogs weren't going out, even if they wanted to, which they didn't.
And our time at Mission Beach, that just rained the whole time we were there too.
Yeah, so Curi doesn't like having her feet wet, so that was never going to happen. Kosta's pretty good with the water. But it wasn't going to work out, so we just wait for our opportunity.
And then we like to go on dog friendly hikes and stuff as well, which we're hoping to do while we're here as well. So if we can take the dogs and go for a hike, then that's a win-win. But we do have to manage that, because with a toddler and 2 dogs with leads, you can get tangled very easily.
You do. Or a toddler gets clotheslined. Yep.
How do we manage going out without them? All right, so we've covered that a little bit. So this is their home. So we don't mind leaving them in the van for short periods of time. We know that they're quite comfortable in here. They don't bark. We've occasionally had neighbours just keep an eye on them for us, let us know if they do bark. And unless someone approaches the van, you wouldn't even know they're in here. But in saying that, we know a lot of caravan parks have pet policies that don't allow you to leave dogs unsupervised, and we will respect that. We won't do it if we're not allowed to. But in saying that, we don't stay at a lot of caravan parks. We stay at a lot of showgrounds. We stay at a lot of recreation reserves, stuff like that, where it's not a problem, where we can do that. Some people might still not like the idea of doing that, but I think the dog owners know the dogs best. Some dogs don't cope very well being left alone.
No.
These 2 do. So we're pretty comfortable doing that.
We know that when they're together, they don't bark or whine. They never have, which is one of the reasons why we got 2 dogs in the first place when they were puppies. And it's actually worked out quite well. So their companionship makes a huge difference to their own anxiety and their own comfort. But this is their safe space. And a lot of the time, if we're worried about them being worked up by traffic or neighbours or things coming past the caravan, we'll put the TV on, and they can watch cartoons while they wait for us to come home. But we never leave them for a long period of time, just for our own comfort as well. We can't help but think about
if anything was to go wrong, we'd hate ourselves for it, but we're comfortable leaving them in here. There's no different to when we spend a whole day sitting in the caravan. They're in here with us, going out. Not hot in here, they've got plenty of water. So we're pretty comfortable doing that, but again, we only do it for short periods. The biggest thing we do is we just take it in turns. We live on the road, we're in each other's pockets 24/7. It's nice to actually have a bit of a break. So like when we're in a town at the moment, we're doing touristy type things. Clem and Liam will go to a museum, and I'll hang back and hang out with the dogs, and that's my time. Just me time. I'll do some editing, I'll just potter around here, reorganise things, work on the car, whatever. Clem will do the same. I'll take Liam out, and Clem will just hang out here. So we do tag team quite regularly.
We do.
That's one of our biggest ways of managing it, I suppose.
We have a thing here saying how do we manage going out without them, and then we've got a list of cafe and then dinner So we don't tend to go to many cafes together as a family. It's usually one-on-one.
Not to sit down.
Not to sit down.
No,
We'll go and get a takeaway.
We'll get a takeaway.
Especially if we've got the dogs, we'll definitely get a takeaway, and then we'll go to a playground or a park or something like that where all the kids can run wild.
And we can actually enjoy our coffee.
And we can enjoy our coffee, yes. If I'm going to a cafe, I might take Liam and he'll have a coffee with me to a baby chino, or vice versa.
Yeah, occasionally on the days that you're working, me and Liam will go to a cafe.
But the dogs together at a cafe, I just can't even.
You can take one of them at a time, but I don't know, they've got a bit of a pack mentality. When they're together, they will react to another dog. But if they're by themselves...
Curi you could take anywhere, she's good. Costa would be anxious the whole time, and he would probably not enjoy it at all.
Yeah, so. We tried when we first set off to go sit at a like a brewery or something, but it's not enjoyable.
It's not at all relaxing. So yeah, we tend to not do it. And if we do want a coffee or a takeout from a cafe, we'll get takeaway and we'll go and sit elsewhere where everyone can be more relaxed.
And then dinner, again, if we're in a caravan park where we can't leave the dogs, we don't go out for dinner while we're there. But if we're staying in a place like we are now, it's just a recreation reserve, we'd happily just leave the dogs in here for the hour that we go have dinner.
We walk them, feed them, exercise them, and then they just be in the van as they would normally be at night.
We put them to bed. And we've got a toddler, so it's not like we're staying out late. We're home by 7:30 at the latest.
Rages. We are.
So yeah, you manage that.
Yeah. We do love it when we're on the road and you see like the little wiki camps thing with the pub and the camping area at the back.
Yeah, that's super handy. When you can actually just stay at the pub, like David Waters, they've got their caravan park attached to the pub.
Yeah.
Queensland, there's heaps of pubs that you can stay out the back as long as you buy a meal.
Lots of little country towns with really good pubs, and just happy for you to park your caravan in the car park and stay the night if you get a meal.
That's
so good.
Super handy. More states should do that. Alright, moving on. Where do we store their food? It travels in the car and it stays in the car. Mainly because when we stay out bush, we don't want to attract other animals by leaving food out. So it stays in the back of the car.
There was a time where we were leaving it on the drill bar, the front drill bar.
In towns we do, just because it's easier so we don't have to pop the car. So if we're staying in a caravan park, we'll just leave it on the front A-frame. But yeah, if we're parked up somewhere, we'll always just throw it in the car not to attract animals.
Yeah, definitely.
And for a little while there, we had the like the bin bag on the back of the spare wheel. And for a little while I travelled in there, but it was
trying to get it in and out of the wheelie bin on the back wheel. And then we're on the York Peninsula last year, and then mice got into the dog food.
Everything. So
then from that point on, we've just either had it inside or in the car. It's just not worth it. Especially when you're remote and your dog food goes bad and you've only got one bag. Not cool.
And our dogs only eat dry biscuits.
Yeah. So
some people have like raw diets and stuff like that. It might be a little bit different. I guess you just leave it in the fridge. But yeah, for us, it's just a bag of biscuits. So not a problem.
Yeah.
How do we know where 1080 is and how do we manage the dogs? 1080 is a pet peeve of ours. We hate 1080 rates. It's such a silly idea. I don't know why Australia use it. It's not
a completely different opinion, but
it's not effective though. Whatever, we're not going to get into that argument. But anyway,
it will be an argument. Yeah.
1080 is it can be anywhere really. It should be signposted when it's been laid, and there are a lot of places that do signpost it, but birds can pick it up obviously. We don't ever let the dogs just free roam in the bush. They will always just be on the lead. We do have muzzles for the places where we do know that 1080 has been laid, or if we're travelling through the area, they just won't get out of the car while we're there. Even if we're just stopping on the side of the road for a quick wee break, we will just walk them on the dirt, not the bitch.
Yeah, they won't roam into the bush, especially on road verges.
No, because then we can see what they're doing. They're within a lead's distance of us.
In saying that, the risk is probably everywhere.
There's certain places that are more so, like the Nullarbor and the Kimberley and
Pilbara, or basically anywhere in Western Australia.
Yeah, Western Australia for it.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, like a recent example is when we're in Kew, the town of Kew in Western Australia, on the Great Northern Highway. It's Great Northern Highway. Yeah. The Inland Road. Yeah, the Inland Road, as we know it. There's signs up all over town saying that one of the recent stations had just baited.
Yeah, so even in the caravan park, there's signs up.
Yeah, more recent information. Call the local council. Call the Parks and Wildlife Department of whichever state it is that you're in, and get some information, especially if you're going near reserves. In which case, most reserves you can have dogs on lead. So yeah, look that information up.
Yeah, we do have muzzles
Yeah.
as well, but our two don't like them very much, so it hurts us to put them on them, even though we know it's
we just
safer.
crossed the Nullarbor and they didn't have the muzzles on at all.
No, but
So,
yeah.
Yeah, we know a bit more about it now and can be a bit more in control. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't like it.
It is a tricky one. Yeah.
Anyway, tick treatments and vet checkups. They just go through their normal vet checkups.
They get annual
yearly.
vet checkups.
Annual ones, yep.
And they get their annual immunisations, the C4
Yeah.
and C5, which I don't think are actually required every year anymore, according to the vet we saw in Gelton. And then if there's any other things that crop up, we'll take them into the vet.
Yeah, we'll just find the
anywhere.
normal local vet and we just carry all their paperwork in here.
We do. We've got all the paperwork that we need.
Yeah, so they just have the intestinal chews monthly, but they get their heartworm yearly.
Heartworms. The tick treatment, we use Bravecto. I know that some people have had a fair few issues with Bravecto, but we haven't had any, and it's worked an absolute charm for us. And that is against all major ticks, including paralysis tick.
Yep.
And what I liked about Bravecto is, yes, it's expensive, but it can last up to 8 months if you get the right tablets.
And then in the northern parts of Australia, it was recommended by every vet we spoke to is to double treatment, so they wore tick collars the whole time we were in the NT and Queensland.
Yeah. Down here, I don't really think about it. No, I kept the tick treatment up at the top notch when we were coming down the Great Northern Highway in WA, and they're probably due for the Bravecto in the next month, so we'll check that.
Yeah, we'll have to check the calendar.
Yeah. And then, any other treatment is as we go, but their health is really good at the moment.
Yeah, Kosta's got a bit of a cough thing that we've got to keep an eye on.
We're getting checked out at our next major stop, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Hardest places to manage the dogs?
Caravan parks.
Yeah.
Busy caravan parks. Busy with dogs, caravan parks, or when you're packed in and there's people walking past your side all the time. In which case, what we find the hardest part is that Kosta is reactive, and he's not just reactive to dogs. If someone walks past and startles him, he'll bark at them. So that's one thing that we have learnt to manage more effectively. He spends a lot of time in the caravan where he can't see people walking past, or he'll be in the car. In that case, we get him out more often for walks and exercise to make it a little bit.
He's usually pretty good if we're out walking with him. I think it's like he's trying to protect the caravan.
It's his safe space, and he thinks that someone's coming in it, but they're not.
Caravan parks. I think as states, I think the NT was actually the hardest.
Yeah,
because there wasn't a lot of places to actually just camp and run
and let them be free, because you've got crocodiles, dingoes, ticks, baits,
cane toads,
thunderstorms. Oh my gosh, at the southeast Queensland, I don't know what I was thinking. I took Curi for a walk in the evening as the storm was rolling in. I was like, oh, this is a good idea. No, take her off the lead, one roll of thunder and she bolts.
Yeah, I just remember watching you running down.
400-metre sprint to get her, but I got her.
Curi girl.
Yeah, and then I had to herd my own herding dog. Got her back there.
Yeah, I think the NT was the hardest, because there is a couple of good waterfalls. I think Robin Falls is
we never made it
dog
there,
friendly. No, we didn't make it there, but you got no real dog beaches that you can go to that we felt comfortable taking them to anyway. So we're reliant on fenced dog exercise areas.
And there were some really good fenced dog exercise areas in the Darwin area, but we just ended up walking and running them on the lead a lot. So more places in NT caravan parks could put in some,
dog exercise
dog
areas.
exercise areas. That'd be really good.
Which is a shame, because we love the NT, but that was the trickiest one.
It was quite busy when we were there too, so probably didn't help things. Yeah.
Favourite places to visit with the dogs so far?
Oh, we've had some rippers, haven't we?
I loved the southern WA. So we stayed at a place called Masons Bay near Hopetown.
Yes.
And that was fantastic. The dog friendly beach will count.
Nut Beach was dog friendly too.
Yeah, just outside of Esperance, and that's a free camp too. So the dogs basically stayed off the lake pretty well the whole time.
Masons Bay was good, but it was a low cost, $12 a night or something.
Yeah, you had to pay for that one because they had toilets and everything there.
Yeah, they did.
And then Palubi Beach was great. We had a really amazing weather while we were at Palubi Beach, and beyond the shelters that you know about if you've researched Palubi is dog friendly beach. So there was a few of us that had dogs, and they all just ran and played together. It was fantastic.
Yeah, in fact, all of the all of the beach camps we did on the Eyre Peninsula were great for dogs.
And York.
And the York Peninsula.
Yeah.
In South Australia. Fantastic.
Yeah, South Australia is a hidden gem. We love South Australia for dogs and low cost camping. South Australia is a gem.
Yeah. In saying that, how good was Calvin's pool?
Yes, in WA.
In WA, near Newman.
Yeah.
So good, and we had a great time there with the dogs.
Definitely jump over and check out that one. I think I titled that one "We Break Our Golden Rule," and you'll see why. But yeah, that was a fantastic spot to stay with the dogs.
Yes, I had a really good time there. Queensland. Yeppoon was really dog friendly.
Yeah, Yeppoon was very dog friendly, and I liked to stay at Susan River, just
River
outside of Harvey Bay.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
Until Rhiannon's Scott and Logan showed up, we were the only ones in the unpowered section.
Yeah, and we had acres of room.
Yeah, so we were able to just play with the dogs and stuff like that. That was really good.
They also had dog friendly motel and hotel rooms there.
Yeah, motel rooms,
which I thought was pretty cool.
And then Harvey Bay had dog beaches and stuff. So that was a good spot for us.
Good. Yeah.
And then Babinda.
Babinda's really dog friendly.
Yeah, Babinda's quite dog friendly. I don't think they can go to Babinda boulders, but you can take the dogs kayaking.
Yeah,
in Babinda, even though there is crocs, I think there must be sectioned off areas.
I don't know. They must have it. There must be a way. The locals must know. I don't know. They had lots of dog parks there too, which was really good.
Yeah, but we're really excited for Tassie. We're heading to Tassie in the new year, and that looks really dog friendly. We're really excited for dog friendly hiking and exploring down there. So can't wait. How do we find dog friendly camps? Wiki Camps is our Bible. You can filter by dog friendly in Wiki Camps. Make sure you turn that off if you're looking for dump points or water points and stuff, because if it doesn't specify that it's dog friendly, it won't show up. So that filter you do have to turn on and off all the time, but yeah, you can filter by dog friendly. Hip camps we've been using a little bit lately, so you can filter by dog friendly as well.
You can search by dog friendly in hip camps as well. It's really good. A lot of the time I just leave all of the filters off and then have to go in, because otherwise you miss some really good spots. And then see if it's dog friendly after that.
But Wiki Camps, that's what we go to, or we jump on like the council or the town's like Facebook pages and stuff like that, and they usually got like links to what do you call it, like an article, magazine article or something, like top things to do with dogs in this area or whatever, and you just have a read through them and find it.
The council websites can be really helpful. A lot of the more off-grid travelling adventures like Cape York and Big Gib, the Travel Australia with Dogs Facebook page
that Facebook group
was
is
really helpful. Lots of people posting the same questions about these certain areas and the dog-friendly places you can take your dogs and what you can do with them, how they manage when you can't take the dogs for a certain section of it, like Cape York, there was Fruitbat Falls and Twin Falls, Elliot Falls. And the
Instagram page Caravanning with Pets share a lot
really
of good dog-friendly locations as well, just shares of other people's travels. So follow Caravanning with Pets and join the Travel Australia with Dogs Facebook group, and you get a lot of information between those two.
Yeah, absolutely. Really helpful groups.
All right, last one. This is specific for travelling with two dogs. So travelling with one dog and travelling with two dogs might seem like it's the same thing, but we don't think so. So having two dogs, they spend a lot of time together like we do as adults, and we need our own space. They need their own space too. We started noticing really quickly in that first 2 months of being on the road that they were sick of each other big time, because they'd spent all the travel day in the back of the car together. They sleep right next to each other in here. They're within a leads distance of each other on all the walks and stuff like that. They were just in each other's face all the time.
And Curi, gets narky at Kosta really
Turns into
easily.
a bitch.
She does. So
we learn very quickly to give them some time apart. So sometimes Costa will be in the van, Curi will be outside. We'll take them for one-on-one walks, which I think is actually quite nice for us. It's usually you take Costa, I take Curi. It's just the way it sort of works out. But we'll just take them for a one-on-one walk together. And then same with if they're starting to knock up in the car, we'll just separate them for a little while, stay on the side of the road for a little bit longer and let them stretch their legs and stuff like that. So yeah, you got to remember that this is a big change for them as well. They do need their space as well.
And when we first set out, their anxiety was through the roof. They had no idea what was going on. We'd taken them out of their safe home,
comfort zone,
and their backyard and their familiar parks and beaches, and now they're travelling full time in a tiny little caravan in a car that is constantly being packed and repacked.
They had always travelled well with us. We had taken them on some adventures, but I think this was different for them. They knew that it was different.
We'd been packing up the house for weeks and they weren't really sure what was going on.
So yeah, they were just under our feet. I think they were afraid we were going to leave them somewhere, but...
Yeah, so a couple of other things that I've just thought of. When they're outside, we have tried to give them longer leads or ropes so that they have some more room to move when they're just clipped onto the van. Does not work. They get tangled around the caravan legs, the chairs, the tables. It is absolute madness. Or each other, and then they just get narky or whatever.
Well, they end up getting so tangled that they're stuck on this much worth of lead.
It just does not work. So we have now just got longer leads. I think they're like 1.5 metres.
Yeah, and I've just tied a knot with a handle in the middle of it so we can pull them in a bit closer if we need to.
And you've probably seen on our other ones, we've got carabiner clips at the handles and we just clip them on. It is so handy having that carabiner clip.
Especially when Liam was younger and we were managing Liam on our hip or in a pram or something. You need a free hand, you can just clip the dog or wrap it around a pole, clip it to itself.
So it makes a huge difference. Occasionally we will set up a run for them, but if you put both of them on the same run, they do get tangled. Or they'll go around a tree or a guide rope or
so by run, Glenn means we've got like a 10-15 metre length of rope and I'll tie it between the van and a tree or two trees or something, and then we just clip them to it, and then they
zimmy up and down
they got 15 metres worth of area that they can walk around. But again, we try and just stay in places where we can let them off the lead. They're actually really well behaved when they're off the lead. They will just hang around. So
they do now. They have been in the van for 2 years, so they know.
Before we close this out, is there any other tips like that snap hook one that you can think of?
The snap hook one is really good though. Sorry about that, the GoPro got a bit too hot.
Struggles in that media kit.
It does, yeah. So we've just thought of a couple more tips that we'd like to share. One of them is the dog's bedding. So we have dog bed for each of the dogs. They also have 2 towels and a blanket. They've also got a horse blanket in the car and a canvas drop sheet in the car as well.
Like a lot, but that's to help keep the car clean. I lay the canvas drop sheet down first, and then they get a layer of the horse blanket.
The towels are used for drying off, and they're just general use towels. Drying off, beach towel. They get washed regularly. And they're
usually actually our old towels. As we start to get new towels, they get our old towels.
They get new towels. So one of the hardest things on the road is finding somewhere to wash the dog's bedding. So we basically narrowed it down to getting bedding that we can wash in our own machine. That means getting beds that are zipper covers so that you can take them off and then wash them. It might take you quite a few goes to get through everything. So you're doing one at a time, the blankets at a time, the towels one at a time. But it makes a huge difference. A lot of laundromats and caravan park laundries do not allow you to wash your dog blankets or bedding in them. So having your own machine can be really helpful. In saying that, it's also hard to find dog beds that have zipper covers that last long. So I tend to end up buying new dog beds every 6 months or so.
Another one that we're trying to do to save it is we've actually got their blanket, especially because it's cold at the moment. We lay the blanket down over their beds. It's the blanket that's getting dirty, not so much the beds. Yeah. And it's easier to wash the blanket.
And it's a whole nother story when we're beach camping. The sand is insane. But at the same time, the dogs stay cleaner. So, yeah. Another tip is getting them out to exercise before you check into a caravan park, especially if you've had a huge day in the car. So you're getting into a caravan park at say 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We try, if we know it's going to be, we're going to have a challenge reversing as it is and then setting up as it is, then we will get the dogs out to a dog park or for a walk before we go to their park to check in.
So like imagine, well, we've been in the car all day, we're just rolling in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Liam's starting to hit that witching hour and needs to burn off some energy before dinner. The dogs are excited because we're pulling in and stopping somewhere. We need to set up. It's all way too much. So we actually stop before we get to that caravan park, even if it's just on the side of the road or something. Get everyone out, stretch their legs, have a snack.
Just regather. Yeah.
Then go do the check-in, and then the dogs. Well, we just pop the back open of the car, and they just stay in the back of the car.
That they're happy being in the car, having a rest whilst we set up, and then by the time we've done all that, we've got dinner on. Then it's the dog's turn to go out for another walk before.
So yeah, we think that's a
dinner bed. Yeah.
Good top tip.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference for us, and it just takes that bit of stress out of the day.
It's mainly for caravan park, but places like this we can manage pretty easily because we can get them straight out. But caravan parks, because if you're reversing and setting up and stuff, you're usually in the way, so you're trying to get it done quite efficiently.
You do.
So that's a good one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to close it out here because the GoPro is probably going to overheat again. We hope that helped. We did do a video over a year ago that we think is still quite valid. We've changed a few things, but it is still quite valid. So I'll put the link to that one at the end of this video. Yeah. Jump over and check that out and see what you think.
Like we said, any questions, just let us know and we'll answer them as honestly as we can. Yeah,
this is what we get asked all the time, but if there's specific ones, flick us a bell. We're happy to chat. We might do flick us a bell.
Flick us a bell.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Obviously we might do things differently to other people, but this is what works for us and has worked and will probably continue to work for the foreseeable future.
Until Liam's old enough and can walk him.
Oh, that'd be nice. We're getting there. We're so close.
Yeah.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you got something out of it. We'll see you in our next video.
See ya.
Catch ya.